Hello and good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. Today, the 28th of September 2021. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight: the Patriotic Front sues the state. Courts jail 2 Zambians for kidnapping 2 children of Indian origin. Government tightens measures ahead of the anticipated COVID-19 fourth wave. In international news, Nigeria builds new schools, but not all students can access them. And in sports news, the government assures equal funding to all sports disciplines.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money for MTN 096 296 5883, for Airtel 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325, Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Hello once again, another news in detail. A woman of Kalikiliki compound of Lusaka has allegedly been murdered by unknown people. The body of the 29-year-old woman, who has been identified as Alice Kapili by the police, was discovered behind a named bar within the compound at around 05:45 Tuesday morning. The residents have expressed fear for their lives, stating that the whole area only has one police post, which also has transport challenges, making it difficult for the police to work efficiently in this area. Details in the following report.
These scratches on the ground indicate a struggle for life. The lifeless body of a 29-year-old woman of Kalikiliki compound was found on this exact spot Tuesday morning behind this bar. Despite the place where she died from being only a stone's throw away from houses, no one came to the rescue of the victim, who is believed to have been murdered. Residents state that the area is not safe as it only has one police post, which also has transport challenges, making it difficult to access the police should they need help.
So police nankala kutali police kupeza wachebuli wantu kapana ma police kapana pesa cheka kapana walipolo 4 transport walipe so uja muntu amwadira ku senseni pale wantu wachita report ku senseni apampamelo amnyamula manje this time
pano seni business press sipankala abantu sipagona abantu kubwera muno tugwera muzuba tikagulisa ma business yatu aliyensa akomboka so changaza yewe choti dabwisa pali mgeozi uyu ukambati imwe muri kuno kunyumba ndani ku press yanu kuli muntu wakufa ndipana bwa kuno ku press kuna pesa ishina akapokola kula kudala vakapokola vaja vanichosera nyula ija namulangana ino mgeozi na muziva pamenenzo nkala ni muziva bwanji nata ni muziva mgeozi amabwera chabe ni mamuona ona launda ma press enzo dwala nata siniza kapenzo dwala siniza kapenzo bwanji katikala ma press zosala timaona nchazo longa zupita kwa siri.
Meanwhile, Independent Kalikiliki Ward Councillor Mr. Shadrack Mwanza says the area is in need of police patrols as criminals have taken advantage of the lack of adequate police presence in the area.
The police have no vehicle. So here what we need is intense police patrols. We need police patrols here. Now, the police cannot patrol without transport. That is one thing that the police is lacking. So we need the police to be empowered with transport. So I'm appealing to my president. I know he's a listening president, Againde Chilema, to please, find well wishers. Even a van will do. We need even a van, at least for the police to be patrolling. We only have, in Kalikiliki ward, there are a lot of Kalikiliki ward, we only have one police station, which is even failing to, to man, the crimes that are, happening here in the world. So please, my appeal is that we need another police station. That is, maybe it can be taken to Mtendere East and other neighborhood watches.
Some residents are of the view that criminal activities have increased following the banning of political party cadres from collecting levies in bus stations and markets, calling on youth to be empowered with skills. Police spokesperson Esther Katongo, in a statement, has confirmed the incidents, adding that the police will investigate the matter. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
And in another sad development, United Voice radio station has suspended transmission due to the fire that has swept through the whole station, leaving millions worth of property to ashes. United Voice radio station board chairperson Dr. Lordwell Siame says among the offices affected by the fire are the on-air transmission booth, recording studio and the control room, where all the equipment has been reduced to ashes. Reverend Siame says the cause of the fire has not yet been established, but that preliminary investigations point at an electrical fault. The station has 5 permanent employees among other part-time workers. Sharon Kalimbula was at the scene and brought us these visuals.
In a democratic country like Zambia, media plays an important role in ensuring that people make informed decisions. In this regard, the media houses are critical in influencing change. Just recently, the country was holding its general elections, and media houses played an important role in making people decide who they wanted to vote for. United Voice Radio, broadcasting on 92.9, was one of those key influencing media houses that hosted various people, including the now President Hakainde Hichilema. But unfortunately, the media house has been gutted at the early hours of today.
Different choir groups used to record their music from here. Other recorded programs used to be done from here. Yeah.
Now, this is the studio, like we mentioned earlier, that hosted various people who spoke on issues of national importance. As you may see, this is probably one of the chairs that one of those prominent people sat on to give you the information, to influence you, and to obviously make you decide on what you thought was right or wrong for this country. And this microphone here is just some of the remains, but cannot be used because it has all been gutted. Obviously, we can just simply say nothing has been saved from this fire.
Music equipment which was donated by the Council of Churches in Zambia. Yeah, as you can see,
does it still play? This is one of the offices that housed the station manager for United Voice radio station, and quite a number of stationery has been served, including this Bible here that was on the table. We're now going to talk to the eyewitness that was found at the scene of this inferno that has left the station literally to zero.
Around 03 something, so nezinaona malaiti pano yapanja azima, but ku chechi niyo yaka. So nikashe genset, kuti nikazindosha genset naona chusi chichoka pamtenje. Na manye chusi chichokera kuti first ni zenguluke nione kumbuyo. Zenguluka kuenda kumbuyo kupeza kuti muliro yaka chiteni ichi. Amene mukati msitundi. Manje ne phone nalibi. So naenda kuli chiteni vakiatika vapachecha naenda vanokimira kuti vahuke kuti vatumire vaku studio. So pamina vanokimira vahuka vatumira vaku studio vamira nishakuita mangira kuma 04 after vabwera mali paminochita contact vafabricate.
That's the station.
And then going back. Meanwhile, United Voice radio station board chairperson Reverend Dr. Lordwell Siame has solidified the claims that the fire started around 03 hours on Tuesday morning.
Transmission has been indefinitely suspended to facilitate for further instructions that we'll get from our board. The cause of fire has not been established. However, preliminary investigations shows that an electrical fault should have been the cause of the fire. The station is appealing to various stakeholders to offer all necessary support to enable us get back on air.
Like most media houses, the News and Current Affairs Department is very important, and United Voice Radio, much as it has been gutted, this department has remained intact. Sharon Kalimula, Camnet News in Lusaka.
The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Lemi Kajoba, has assured members of the public that all crimes that were reported to police during the previous government are receiving adequate attention by the current police command. Mr. Kajoba says police will ensure that all the cases that were reported to police and cited in the petition that was presented to the police on Monday, September 28, 2021 by Mr. Bene Hajombwa are brought to a conclusive end. The police IG says the interest of the police is not to hurriedly present matters before court only to record an acquittal, a discharge or nolle prosequi, but a conviction. Mr. Kajoba further says the command will not sweep any criminal matter under the carpet but allow for justice to take its course. This is according to a statement issued to Camnet TV by the Zambia police spokesperson. The Buy Zambia campaign has called on government to conduct an assessment of all products on the market aimed at identifying those that can be produced locally and begin to build capacity in citizens. In an interview with Camnet TV, Buy Zambia campaign agriculture engineer Lighton Kanowe states that the closing of many borders at the peak of the coronavirus was a reminder to Zambia that it is time that the country reduced its dependency on imported products. Mr. Kanowe adds that if this is not done, talks of Zambia becoming self-reliant will only remain on paper while the country remains perpetually import-dependent.
We must be ashamed as a people. We must be ashamed of importing things that we can produce. That's the bottom line. And for us to reach that extent, we have to have mechanism or means to change our mindset. The fact still remains that there is nobody in this world who is interested to develop Zambia as much as Zambians would like to develop. Nobody has that interest, about the development of Zambia. So that's a fact. Now, what government must do going forward is to slowly check on our import profile and provide an opportunity for local production and productivity while ensuring that our local produce compete favorably with imported goods. One of which is playing around with the taxes and things of that sort, and putting limits on importation prefer local production and productivity. In that way, we are going to see a lot of people, getting into production and productivity, but also people who are producing similar goods outside may want to invest into the country to ensure that they produce local because there is a favorable environment for production and productivity within the country.
Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis Mwila has sued the state in the Lusaka High Court, seeking a declaratory order declaring that he cannot be compelled to disclose the source of funds that the Patriotic Front Party used for campaigns in the 2021 general elections. Mr. Mwila, who has cited the Attorney General as a defendant, further wants a declaration that the funding of the 2021 general elections is not money laundering. In his statement of claim filed before court, Mr. Mwila states that in September 2021, officers from the Drug Enforcement Commission DEC Anti-Money Laundering Unit summoned him and questioned him over the source of funds the party used in the general elections, and the money was linked to money laundering. More in this report.
The opposition Patriotic Front Party, which lost power in the just-ended August elections, have run to court seeking a declaratory order declaring that they cannot be compelled to disclose the source of funds they used for campaigns in the 2021 general elections. Mr. Davis Mwila, who has sued the Attorney General in his capacity as the party Secretary General in the Lusaka High Court, says in September 2021, officers from the Drug Enforcement Commission Anti-Money Laundering Unit summoned and questioned him over the source of funds used in the 2021 general elections, which officers later linked the said funds to money laundering. In a statement of claim, Mr. Mwila further disclosed that officers under the Anti-Money Laundering Unit of the DEC recently summoned PF Party Media Director Antonio Mwanza and questioned him over the said issue. Mr. Mwila has submitted before court that the state have continued to put pressure on some junior members of the party to disclose the party's source of funding for its campaign's activities in the just-ended elections. He adds that the state have continued to threaten members of the party with prosecution if they do not disclose the source of their campaign funds. He submits that out of the 16 political parties that participated in the 2021 general elections, only the Patriotic Front Party have been singled out and targeted by DEC, a move which has instilled fear in the mind of its members. Mr. Mwila is now demanding damages for intimidating and harassing members of the Patriotic Front Party and an order that the party cannot be compelled to say where they got the funds they used for campaigns during elections. And further, a declaration that the campaign funding they used during the 2021 election is not a proceeds of money laundering. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Dominic Makalachi has sentenced a Lusaka maid and her boyfriend to 5 years simple imprisonment for kidnapping 2 children of Asian origin. Helen Banda, 28, and her boyfriend Chilumina Kambwili were charged with abduction and theft of a motor vehicle. The duo had kidnapped the children and demanded 2 million kwacha from their parents. In passing sentence Tuesday morning, Magistrate Makalachi said there were other ways of making money than kidnapping other people's children, hence the need for a stiffer punishment in order to deter would-be offenders. We have more in the following report.
At only 28, Helen Banda, a maid of Lusaka, together with her 39-year-old boyfriend, Chilumana Kambwili, a businessman, who have to spend few years of their life in prison after the Lusaka's Magistrate Court Tuesday morning sentenced them to 5 years simple imprisonment for kidnapping 2 children of Asian origin. Banda and Kambwili are said to have made a plan to kidnap Sudash Patel, 10, and his sister Lakshi Patel, 7, and blackmailed Mr. Kumar Patel, their father, to pay them 2 million kwacha. The duo were charged with 2 counts of abduction and theft of a motor vehicle, which they plainly admitted. Banda, however, told the Lusaka's Magistrate Court Tuesday morning, when taking a new plea, that because of mistreatment from her boss, she decided to kidnap the children together with Kambwili, but pleaded with the court for mercy. Other court's record reveal that on the mature day, Banda introduced the kids to Kambwili as being the new driver who was going to be driving them to school. Facts before court further reveal that instead of taking the children to school, Kambwili started driving the opposite direction and proceeded to Kabanana, where he locked the kids at his house and called the parents of the victim to demand for 2 million kwacha. In passing his judgment, Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Dominic Makalachi said Kambwili and Banda should have found a better way of making money than stealing other people's children. In speaking to the media shortly, parents to the victim said Banda hid her identity when she came to look for employment and claimed to be Christian instead of Helen Banda.
Because that was her first month working, so how would the money get deducted? You understand? She did not even clock the 30 days of her work. So what is there for her to give a story? She's trying to get away with it, but God is watching.
If she is if everything she thought she is saying true, why is she telling me her name lie? She telling her name is Christine, but her name is Eleni Banda. Why is she hiding her identity? If she come for a job purpose, why is she hiding everything? Why? Means her mind, when she start, from that time her mind is something like that. She wants to do something like that. I am happy with the justice. It's good. And it's for, because for other children also can be saved. Even I thinking about another children, they are lost and missing,
Because today it's us. Tomorrow it will be somebody else.
Meanwhile, Banda, who covered her face while she was being taken to Chumbokaila Correctional Facility, said she regretted her action, but what led her to do that was because of the mistreatment she got from her boss.
One what I did, I regret the most because I did it to a fellow mother, which I even felt because I've left my daughter who is 1 year 9. So I regret what I did. But Indians, they also mistreat us. So if the new law can come up where, in fact, I can be the new evidence to go door to door the people who I work with who have abused me. Never used to give me ranch, which is, it was contrary to what we agreed when I started working. And secondly, they told me I would be knocked in time, they told me 17, which I never knocked off 17. Even themselves, they can bear witness. I was arrested, I was being threatened by Indian man, said we'll send someone to kill you, so I don't want my face to be known. But if you people want to follow up this case, when I'm out, I have 3 Indians who I've worked through, who I can go to them and tell them how they abused me, and if they're genuine people, they're going to look at my face and say, we never did this or we did this. Okay. Which I even started an organization for people who can speak because
She, however, told reporters that she will review, once out of prison after 5 years, how she was mistreated by a boss. The court has sentenced Banda and Kamuli to 5 years in count 1, where they were accused of adoption, 2 years in the second count for the offense of theft of motor vehicle, and 5 years in the third count for the offense of adoption. The magistrate says the sentence will run concurrently, effective the 28th of September 2021. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Technology and Science Minister Felix Mutati has called on players in the science and technology sector in Zambia to work collaboratively and contribute effectively to the country's gross domestic product. Speaking during an engagement meeting with the Zambia Information Communication Technology Authority, ZICTA, Mr. Mutati states that despite its potential to contribute up to 10% to the GDP, the science and technology sector is currently contributing below 5%. Meanwhile, ZICTA Acting Director General Mr. Mwenya Mutale has revealed that ZICTA currently does not have enough funds to fully implement cyber security laws. More in this report.
The science and technology sector in Zambia remains untapped as the country for a long time has had no ministry mandated to oversee operations in this sector. This has led to independent operations by sector players, which has made it difficult for anything substantial to be achieved in this area. New Technology and Science Minister Mr. Felix Mutati has called for collaborated efforts from sector players if Zambia is to thrive in the area of science and technology. He states that despite this sector having the potential to contribute up to 10% to the country's gross domestic product, it has been contributing below 5%. Mr. Mutati was speaking when engaging with the Zambia Information Communication Technology Authority, ZICTA, Tuesday.
And you are hovering below 5%. So therefore, there must be something that is not happening in the sector that we must begin to correct. And ZICTA, you are the supervisors of the sector. So you need to tell us what are the things that must be done in order to lift up the contribution of the sector to be able to meet what is expected of the sector in excess of 5%. So DG, we need that roadmap of what we must do to get to beyond 5%.
He asked that the ministry will also undertake the path of promoting innovations as one way of seeking homegrown solutions. Meanwhile, ZICTA Acting Director General Mr. Mwenya Mutale has revealed that the authority is struggling to monitor the cyberspace due to lack of adequate funding, hence the need for more funds to be pumped into cybersecurity.
We don't have a lot of systems in place, but we intend to acquire more systems, especially from the cybersecurity point of view. Honourable Minister, for us to monitor the cyberspace, a lot of investment need to be made in those areas. The last time we did calculation, we realized that the Department of Cybersecurity will require more than 800 million kwacha in the next 3 years for us to deliver on the mandate.
Citizens are expectant of new innovations with the introduction of the Technology and Science Ministry as countries around the world are going digital. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo has assured the nation that government has put up deliberate measures to address the anticipated fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic expected in December 2021. Responding to former Health Minister Dr. Shitaluchu Lufya on the floor of Parliament Tuesday, Ms. Masebo says that government has intensified the COVID-19 vaccine acquisition while advocating vaccine acceptability among the citizens. We have more in the following report.
Regardless of the recent reduction of COVID-19 cases in the country, it is anticipated that come December 2021, the country is yet to be hit by a fourth wave of the pandemic. During the address of the National Assembly Tuesday, Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo has reviewed intervention taken by the ministry in addressing the pandemic.
Ensuring logistics and commodity security to safeguard medicines, vaccines, medical supplies and equipment, and working on various areas including A, increasing oxygen production and delivery capacity through maintenance of oxygen plants, establishment of extra oxygen plants, and acquisition of more oxygen cylinders and concentrators. B, stockpiling medical supplies and commodities, including oxygen. C, increasing storage and transportation capacity. And D, expansion of bed capacity for case management and continued quality routine health care services through government and partner and stakeholder support. Government, through the Ministry of Health, will renovate 2 structures, one in Lusaka and the other one in Kitwe, to support increasing numbers of cases. Madam Speaker, the House may wish to note that Zambia is at the tail end of the third COVID-19 wave and yet remains threatened by an imminent increase in view of the global trends.
Ms. Masebo further assured that the country is to be removed from the red line considering the current reduced levels of the pandemic.
Government has taken the following measures to ensure Zambia is removed from the red list of countries. A, all travelers out of Zambia are tested in the Africa Union's trusted travel platform. Certified laboratories and certificates are issued by this same platform. B, government through the Ministry of Health is working to address some of the concerns of countries who still have us on their red list, and I remain confident of a positive outcome soon. The United Kingdom and other partners have pledged to support the Ministry of Health and the Zambia National Public Health Institute in strengthening genomic sequencing and ensuring timely sharing of data. In addition, we will continue rolling out our vaccination and certification program. The House may wish to note that Zambia is now in the green zone with a sustained positivity rate of less than 5% across the country since 22nd of August 2021. It is important to state that sovereign states and territories remain with their rights to determine who qualifies to enter their countries. However, Madam Speaker, recently, Germany removed restrictions on Zambians traveling to their country, while we remain on the red list of others, such as the United Kingdom. But as earlier said, I'm confident that with interventions we continue to put in place, this will soon be reviewed to the advantage of our country.
Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Construction works of Chitindi Mini Hospital in Lusangazi districts have been completed. Chitindi Mini Hospital is the first ever modern health facility to be constructed in the area. The construction works of the mini hospital include the construction of 2 semi-detached staff houses.
In a bid to provide quality healthcare services to all Zambians, government embarked on the construction of mini hospitals across the country. In Lusangazi district of Eastern Province, the construction of Chitindi Mini Hospital in Chief Sandway's chiefdom has been completed and awaits commissioning.
Lusangazi district also benefited from the Ministry of Health program in terms of infrastructure, where we are constructing 108 mini hospitals and 3 district hospitals as a countrywide. So as Lusangazi also, we have 1 mini hospital which was under construction at Chitindi So the hospital, the construction work started in January, and as of today, the construction works have been done for the main hospital together with the staff houses which are there.
Msanzala constituency member of parliament Elias Daka has toured the facility and is happy with the works done so far.
My duty now is to go and inform the Minister of Health so that we see how best we can quicken the process of these remaining works so that our people should start benefiting from this infrastructure. Because if we leave it like this, it will be a white elephant and all the effort will be wasted. So our people are geared to start receiving medicine.
Residents in the area are also excited with this development and have appealed to government to quickly operationalize the facility. About 50,000 people from across Lusangazi district and the surrounding areas are expected to benefit from the first ever main hospital in the area through accessing quality healthcare services. Naomi Mwimba for Zanis, Lusangazi district, Eastern Province.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Would you like to win some cool cash? Say no more. Stand a chance to win your share of 1 million kwacha. Simply make a transaction from your Zamtel mobile money account and you could be one of weekly winners of up to 10,000 kwacha. Be empowered with Zamtel mobile money. Dial *344# to activate your account. This promotion runs from 28th July to 31st October 2021. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
At Savenda Express Printing, we have the capacity to deliver quality in all kinds of printing services timely. Our lines of production include screen printing, embroidery, lithography, and large format printing. We take pride in delivering quality work at very competitive rates with our in-house, highly experienced and qualified designers. With the ability to print full color and embossing prints, our state-of-the-art screen printing machines are able to print 1,000 pieces per hour. Our embroidery machines are able to print any logo with 1 or up to 12 colors all at once and has an output capacity of 100 pieces per hour. Savenda Express Printing also does large format printing for billboards, banners, vinyl, car stickers, posters, tire covers, cups, pens, bags, flasks, packaging boxes, and well, just anything that can need printing. For inquiries, give us a call on 0960 344 471.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Bondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28th September 2021. Any late payment made after 28th September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. KFW company will construct a modern bus station and trading market in Lundazi district of Eastern Province. Lundazi Town Council Chairperson Gordon Tembo has confirmed this development, saying that KFW company has reached an agreement with the Lundazi Town Council in ensuring the construction works of a modern bus station and market is actualized. Mr. Tembo adds that once the construction works start, a lot of people will benefit from the project and more jobs will be created. He also says that the project is huge and will put the district on the map once it is actualized.
Day for Lundazi, as we were having a stakeholders meeting with the KFW, who have come on board to actually build a modern bus station and the market shelters in the Lundazi main market. This is actually a plus for us as Lundazi Town Council. And the meeting went well, the stakeholders, they're very happy, and we are happy too as a local authority because this infrastructure development is very good for us. And our message to KFW was that they are welcome, and what we expect as the construction works start, we expect that our locals, they also benefit from the employment of the people that will be actually doing the same construction. They have to be involved in this because this is their work actually. And we've also informed our marketeers that immediately the work starts, we're going to move them from where they are to allow work to go smoothly. And once the works are done, we shall bring them back in their new infrastructure that will be handed over to the Town Council. So all in all,
a pre- and post-election report by the Zambia Federation of Organizations, ZAFOD, on the August 12 general election has revealed that more still needs to be done to steer inclusion of persons with disabilities in governance. Among the major highlights of the report are inaccessibility of voting facilities, which remains a major hindrance to the effective participation of persons with disabilities. The report, disseminated Tuesday, 28 September 2021, also indicated that despite the Electoral Commission of Zambia introducing Braille jackets, there was inadequate awareness on how to use them. The recently held general election indicates that 12 candidates living with disabilities were on the ballot on August 12, including 5 at the parliamentary level. ZAFOD Vice President Paul Mbewe has since called on the political parties to take a more inclusive approach, raising awareness and discussing inclusion policies as enshrined in their party constitutions.
Despite continued barriers to participation, ZAFOD will count the fact that at least 12 candidates on the ballot on the August 12 elections, including 5 at the parliamentary level, were persons with disabilities. However, ZAFOD notes with concern the threatening, abusive or insulting language towards candidates with disabilities among political players. While ZAFOD urges political parties to continue to nominate persons with disabilities as candidates and to take steps to encourage their inclusion at all levels of party structures, ZAFOD calls on political parties to take a more active approach in raising awareness and discussing inclusion policies as outlined in their manifestos among party members and internal structures to be better able to apply disability inclusion lenses in their engagements with the electorate. ZAFOD also wishes to thank our staff, master trainers and observers for their dedication to ensuring that persons with disabilities are able to fully exercise their rights.
Tourism Permanent Secretary Patrick Lungu has implored members of the Integrity Committee at his ministry to help prevent corruption, to transform the perception that the institution is corrupt. Speaking when he officially opened the orientation workshop for members of the Ministerial Integrity Committee held in Lusaka Tuesday, the PS said the new Integrity Committee will become an effective tool in ensuring that adherence to moral and ethical principles become the way of life. He says the ministry is responsible for regulating accommodation establishments, which include casinos, Hotel Managers Registration Council, the National Parks and Wildlife, safari operations, travel agencies and cultural industries, and may not only bring challenges but also create opportunities for corruption. Meanwhile, Anti-Corruption Commission Acting Director of Corruption Prevention, Glenda Mungalaba, says there is an increasing need to improve service delivery as the public and government place the corruption fight under serious scrutiny.
Heed that call and support government in its fight against corruption. When we do that, service delivery and the general business environment will improve. This sector includes wildlife, cultural and heritage sites. Needless to say, government derives substantial revenues from these resources, just as our investors do, and also our local communities, the communities that live side by side with these resources.
That there is an increasing demand now more than ever for improved service delivery and transparency, I must add. It's not in the speech. As members of the public and our political leaders continue to place our work as public officers under very close scrutiny. Corruption prevention is key to the utilization of public resources for their intended purpose.
Over 3,000 civil servants who were retrenched in 1999 under the Public Service Reform Program in national interest are fearful that they may all die before enjoying the fruits of their labor. The retirees are, however, hopeful that the United Party for National Development administration will respond and pay them their dues. In a statement, one of the retirees, Siachoke Simenza, who is among the surviving retirees of the group, said they won a court case against the government in 2011, but that government has not paid them their dues despite a court ruling in their favor. Mr. Simenza, who has welcomed the appointment of Mulilo Dimas Kabesha as Attorney General and Marshal Mubambe Muchende as Solicitor General, called for a clean-up in the judiciary.
For years, the story of retirees has remained a challenge. The PF government made attempts to address the plight of retirees, but at the end of the tenure, the summary is that it was the same old story of frequenting cabinet offices, demanding their dues, and no tangible solutions. Many of them ended up dying without their money, and one of the surviving members of the over 3,000 civil servants who were retrenched in 1999 under the Public Service Reform Program in national interest, Siachoke Simemeza, is fearful that they may all end up dying without enjoying their money.
And believe that 700 million can be paid reasonably, unlike the 500, the 100 kwachas that we have been receiving in the past. So, for us, with assurance, with what we are told, which we have submitted, average figure for any retiree is about 250,000 on just 8% shortif, which amounts to 750 plus million. We pray that the new Dawn, himself the president, as he said, at least a lump sum. If a lump sum can come out of that money, we'll be very grateful.
He is hopeful that the United Party for National Development administration will address their plight.
In retirement, I haven't seen my pension. I don't know how it looks like. So, considering with the hope that you have been given, we are also not doubting the government of UPND. I'm sure they will do something to us. If they don't, it's entirely up to them. But us, we are grateful. As for now, we are grateful. We just ask you, maybe I take an opportunity, my fellow retirees, to be a bit patient about them. Just avoid unnecessary movements. Because will end up being misunderstood.
Mr. Simemeza, who held President Hakainde Hichilema for appointing Mulilo Kabesha as the Attorney General and Marshal Muchende as Solicitor General, called for a clean-up in the judiciary.
We hope and wish the President will consider removing other staff from Minister of Finance to Minister of Justice, because these other officers, especially constitutional officers, they have caused every retirees, not only us 1999. Death are always there. Money has been siphoned. What can I say? Siphoned. The treasurer releases the money, we don't receive it.
One only hopes retirees will be better addressed as assured by the new Dawn government. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
In our quest to serve nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Africa is rising to a new dawn of integrity and accountability. Are you tired of being swindled or buying fake or illegal properties? Would you like to sell or buy genuine property? Would you like to list your property on both local and international market? Don't waste your time. Call the professionals, the SGK Properties, on +260 762 166 018. SGK Properties. Your business assurance is our priority.
The Camnet October Conference is fast approaching. To participate in the forthcoming conference, you're required to book your seat by paying 750 kwacha per person per day. Date 1st and 2nd October 2021. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. Guest speakers include Professor Reda, Professor Munkumba, Mr. Nkuruma Kalaluka, Dr. Musonda, Dr. Sitima, Anthony from USA, Dr. Mwale, Honorable Bob Sichinga, Elias Pondela, and your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba.
You can also participate via Zoom at 300 kwacha per day.
Make your payments through mobile money. For MTN, 096 296 5883. For Airtel, 097 975 3010. Our banking details are 913 000 182 5325. Stanbic Bank, Kablonga Branch.
For those living abroad, make payments via Wild Remit. The deadline for payments will be 28 September 2021. Any late payment made after 28 September will attract a penalty fee of 200 kwacha per person.
Welcome back. And in foreign news, education in Nigeria's northern Borno state, the region at the heart of years of Boko Haram violence, is getting back on track. With new schools now built, enrollment is increasing, but because facilities cannot be built in areas where Boko Haram is still active, thousands of children still have no schools to go to. In other news, air pollution has been smothering Bangladesh for years, causing deaths and damaging the environment and the economy. The country has the worst pollution in the world, according to global air quality reports. Health experts say pollution is a silent killer, and the number of respiratory illnesses has increased tenfold in recent years. Here's a roundup of international news.
After years of disruptions, these high school students write their final year examinations. 6 years ago, most of them were either in displaced persons camps or on the streets with little hope of completing high school. They were forced from schools like these, attacked and damaged by the armed group Boko Haram, whose ideology is to fight Western education and influences.
Schooling became completely impossible, even within Maiduguri as of that time, because most of the infrastructure of schools have become camps. Then we had to roll in, at that time, what was called education under emergency. Gradually, we emerged out of the emergency phase, and now we are working towards the stabilization phase. It's a challenge. So much of our infrastructure has been destroyed. You know, once it becomes a disaster, it exceeds our coping capacity.
This is now the face of schools in northern Nigeria's Borno state, the epicenter of the conflict. Old structures rehabilitated and new ones constructed.
Dozens of story buildings like this have been built to absorb as many out-of-school children as possible. Still, tens of thousands more are unable to access education. The government is unable to construct or rehabilitate schools in areas where there are significant threats from Boko Haram.
School enrollment is up, but the figure is nowhere near what it was before the conflict began. The United Nations Children's Fund says more than 1 million children were targeted for enrollment in the first 4 months of this year, but less than half that number were able to attend class because of the lack of facilities and security concerns. Experts want the Nigerian government to prioritize safety.
Security of those words or children that are to be enrolled, that's the most important thing, that their security should be guaranteed, and that of their teachers. You can't just give education to those in the urban areas, neglecting those in the rural areas. So those in the rural areas are now afraid of going back because they are not certain. They are not assured of their security.
With many schools in Nigeria's north classified as vulnerable to attacks by armed groups, some parents here in Borno worry about putting the lives of their children at risk.
Bangladesh has one of the world's fastest growing economies, but its rapid urban development and heavy construction in the densely packed capital Dhaka has come at a cost: pollution. For Rahman, who lives in Dhaka, it's a hard reality.
I've been admitted here for the last 2 weeks, but I've been suffering from respiratory illnesses for quite some time now. Even had corona in between this period. It all has to do with dust and pollution.
Health experts say pollution is a silent killer, and the number of respiratory illness has increased tenfold in recent years.
Absolutely, because of air pollution, the number of patients has increased, suffering from various pulmonary, respiratory and other lung diseases. We've observed that the number of people we used to attend to as outdoor patients with respiratory illnesses has also increased significantly. The air pollution is an important factor.
Many living in the city wear masks when out in its streets, and not just because of COVID-19.
We have to wear masks all the time because of the heavy dust and smoke that comes out of the vehicles. Otherwise it's hard to breathe. Although it's kind of uneasy to wear this all the time, we have no choice because of the pollution.
Environmental experts say unplanned development, coal-run industries, brick factories and construction works have made the situation worse.
Right now, Bangladesh is the top ranking of the worst air quality country in the world. Unfortunately, we are not 100% responsible for this. This is because of the transboundary movement of the air and polluted air from the neighboring countries like India, Nepal and Myanmar. So this is very alarming.
In a report, the Energy Policy Institute at Chicago's Air Quality Life says air pollution is shortening the life expectancy of people in Bangladesh by nearly 5.5 years.
I've been wearing this white mask for several hours and going around the city. Now you can see the dust and pollution on the mask. This shows the quality of air people are breathing here in the capital, Dhaka.
At present, the average life expectancy of people here is 72.6 years. But the Institute's report says those in the capital could live 7.7 years longer if air pollution was reduced. Tanvir Chaudhary, Al Jazeera, Dhaka.
It's now time for sports news. Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts has assured the nation that all sports disciplines will be given the equal attention, unlike a situation where only football is given prominence and more support. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Minister of Youth, Sports and Art, Elvis Nkandu, says every sport is important and deserves funding. We have more in the following report.
Government says it to ensure that all sports disciplines in the country are given equal attention and developed together in the circle with the rest of the world. Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts has assured sports lovers that they will no longer be called the Ministry of Football, but they will accommodate all sports disciplines that have for a long time felt left out. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Minister of Youth, Sports and Art, Elvis Nkandu, has since called on all sports disciplines not to feel inferior. In the past weeks, Camnet Sports discovered a number of different sports disciplines who complained about their sports not being popular as compared to football.
And persons with disabilities themselves engaging in sports, most of them have negative perceptions about them because of what they have heard in the communities, and others it's just lack of information. Others, they don't know that they can engage in sport, they don't know that there's wheelchair basketball, they don't know that there's athletics for persons with disabilities. So these and many other challenges.
Loving the sport, but they have a mentality in the common of saying basketball could become a pereka. So if we had a change of thinking up there from our leaders helping us, trying to promote the sport, not just football, it can really help.
That sponsor basketball, so that's why it's not popular. And then the fact that we get less funding from the government, because I've been in the national team, I've been called for national duty like 3 times, but then we've never gone out to play any games because we're told we don't have, there are not a lot of funds or we don't have sponsors.
The minister has since appealed to them not to feel left out, adding that every sport is important and deserves equal opportunities.
Will not anymore be called the Minister of Football. This is the Minister of Sport. And indeed, if this is the Minister of Sport, then there are a lot of sporting disciplines that make sport in this ministry. So football is one of them. It could be volleyball, it could be athletics, it could be tennis, motorsport, everything. So I want to assure the people of Zambia, those that have been complaining that the Minister of Sport is much concentrated on football, that I think that era is long gone, and this ministry will make sure that one, it encourages those who call themselves small sporting disciplines, that they are very much welcome in the ministry, and they have demonstrated that by starting meeting those federations that represents those sporting disciplines.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
On that note, we come to the end of the Camnet News, but before we go, we'll take a look at the headlines once again. The Patriotic Front sues the state. Courts jail 2 Zambians for kidnapping 2 children of Indian origin. Government tightens measures ahead of the anticipated COVID-19 4th wave. In international news, Nigeria builds new schools, but not all students can access them. And in sports news, the government assures equal funding to all sports disciplines. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Philippians 2 verse 14 to 15, and it reads, Do everything without grumbling and arguing, so that you may be blameless and pure, children of God who are faultless in a crooked and perverted generation, among whom you shine like stars in the world. My name is Jeffrey Zambo, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.